Thank you for making the time. I'm glad to finally be speaking with you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so we'll just jump right into it. You are the solo screenwriter for this film. So before jumping into the project, had you read the book before? And if so, how did you draw inspiration from it going into it?
Yeah, well, I don't even know if the book was out yet when I got it. I can't remember the exact timeline, but I did read it and I loved it. It just kind of clicked for me. I really love that genre, sort of it's a little bit of a thriller. It's a little bit of a modern gothic. It takes place in this kind of very specific location. It had a lot of elements of Hitchcock to it, you know. And so I loved the book. And so I was very excited to get the chance to adapt it. And I think it's such a fun book with a lot of twists and turns. Yeah, a lot of it is just about like choosing the elements from the book that would be the most cinematic and the most fun for an audience and bring the most fun for an actor to the part, you know. It does have really great roles. They're very complicated. They're very layered. There's lots of secrets being kept. They're both very sort of sharp women, and a really warm and vulnerable male character. And then there's all these supporting, very fun, kind of a little bit larger than life characters. So I think it really, what I thought when I read it, it was like, this is a great book, but it's also a book that will really appeal to an audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm right with you with I love all of the psychological thrillers and really like those stories that kind of make you think. So that's one thing that really stuck out to me watching it as well was seeing how all the different layers kind of peeled back. And then I like how you kind of started echoing this, but when you're taking something and adapting that from this story that already exists, like in this case. There's that layer of thought behind that where you're making it your own while also staying true to that original source material. So, for The Housemaid, how did you go about navigating that and integrating your own personal style into it?
I do have a background in horror, and I kind of describe this movie as a personal horror story, mostly because it's kind of about it's some of it's about, things aren't as they seem. There's some betrayal happening. There's some interesting power dynamics going on, and the characters are all, especially the character of Millie, she's kind of really living on the edge, as kind of living on the edge of society through a set of circumstances. And that makes you very vulnerable. And you have kind of no choice but to trust people. And that is a really scary place to be.
Mhm.
So it's not maybe a normal horror story, but it's kind of something that is kind of everybody's worst nightmare. I think we've all had somebody who presents as one way, and then we kind of see another side of them that is, it could be a little bit dangerous. It could be a little bit, um, you know, somebody who can hurt you. It can be somebody who can make you feel bad. It could be somebody who just kind of your expectations of that person doesn't come to fruition. And that can put you in a really scary place. So I think we've all been in places like that. We've all had that person who sort of didn't turn out the way you thought they would. You get close to that person and then you realize, oh, wait, this is not what I thought it would be. And now I'm sort of locked into a relationship with them. So I think that for one thing is one thing I drew upon for sure.
Mm.
Um, and then also just in terms of like what I like as an audience member, I sort of drew upon the idea of sort of a cinematic idea of like being in this place, in this house that kind of becomes a character in itself.
Yeah.
And I thought that definitely was a part of the book. And I thought, okay, let's really wring all the details of that out.
No, absolutely. And I feel like honestly all of that makes it more scary than a traditional like a monster or whatever because this is something that could actually happen. which kind of
Yes.
adds that other layer of like, oh, it really messes with your head a little bit.
Absolutely. Like the closer things are to your truth or your emotional truth, the scarier they are. I never get scared in movies.
Mhm.
That's sort of one of my things. I'm not easily
Yeah.
impressed by
Yeah.
horror films,
No, I'm the same.
right? Is you're like, okay, cool, monster, whatever. But things that are very like sort of psychological and involve people you know and trust, that is scary
Mhm.
because you can imagine how destructive that could be to your own life, whether it's just your emotional life or your financial life. All those things are really scary.
Yeah. And in the film too, Millie, who is played by Sydney Sweeney, she accepts this position as a live-in housemaid for the Winchester family and is put through a lot, to say the least. In a hypothetical situation, without giving too much away, if you were in Millie's shoes, how would you deal with it?
Wow, that's so interesting. How would I deal with it? She's really in a tight situation for a variety of reasons. I think that as as an older like at younger, I probably would have done the same thing.
Mhm.
As an older person, like some years of experience under my belt, I probably would find a way to confront the problem head on
Mhm.
instead of kind of trying to make it work. I think that's just sort of something that comes with experience is that I think I would find a way to take control of the situation by using a little bit more direct confrontation.
Mhm. I love that. Yes, I love some of the ways they deal with it in the film too, because they're very smart. They're very smart about how they go about it.
They're very smart. They're very fun. They have some, I think Millie's such an interesting character, right? Because she is very smart, but she also believes in standing up for what she believes and fighting for what is right. And that is a strength, but it's also a weakness.
Continuing that conversation about the characters, because I feel like that is something that really stands out as someone who's seen it, watching like Amanda like take on Nina and Sydney Sweeney take on Millie. These are complex characters. There's a lot that goes into that. So, as a screenwriter for it, how does it feel to watch these characters that you've been studying and conceptualizing finally come to life on screen?
Very exciting. I think or for me personally, when I'm writing, I'm not picturing anyone in particular because I want them to seem like real people
Hmm.
to me. I want them to seem like, I don't want them to seem like actors. I want them to seem like people that I might know or interact with so that I can really feel their emotional complexities. Once you see these actors in the role, though, you think, oh, no one else could ever play these roles. I think that Sydney has this kind of unexpected vulnerability and warmth to her that maybe not all the time that we don't all the time think of her as, but she's so relatable. She's so vulnerable. She's so someone you can root for that I just loved her. And she's so sharp. She's really got a sharp eye for the world. And you feel all those things come through. And the same for Amanda is that you can feel her strength and you can feel she's real chameleon as an actress. She can pretty much do anything. She can do comedy, she can do drama. So all of those things, I think, kind of come out in this role for her in very unexpected ways. And it's a really kind of exciting and unexpected performance.
Yeah, and see, I've been a fan of Amanda's for as long as I can remember. Like, I think I first saw her in Mean Girls. So I've loved watching all of the different things she's done. So it was really cool to see her take on this role because I feel like it's so different than a
Mhm.
lot of her bigger ones. So it was very cool to see her develop that character.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I haven't seen it. She often plays someone who, well, actually, she's played lots of different things. So it is kind of amazing. And yeah, she really brought this character to life. You don't know what she's going to do next. And
Mhm.
that doesn't often happen when you're watching a film.
Absolutely. Going back to, I know we talked a little bit about, obviously it is a book to film adaptation, and the book was a bestseller. It has a very dedicated fan base. And I know a lot of people are very excited to see that story that has meant so much to them come to life on screen. So I would love to know, because I feel like that's something that is a trend for a lot of us. Like a lot of us have these stories that have stuck with us throughout the years. So I'd love to know what book or books have been very impactful in your life. And as a follow-up, if you could pick any book to have a film adaptation, what would it be?
Oh, that's very interesting. I think for me, there's a couple of books. Frankenstein is my favorite book of all time.
I love
Um,
Frankenstein.
it's
I
a
saw the
great
movie
book.
as well.
Yeah, people should read the book. It's really good.
Great.
Like, I know it's old, it's a classic, but it's very exciting and very modern. And so I've always wanted to do a Frankenstein, but of course, there have been many versions of it. And I think the latest one by Guillermo del Toro is really great. And I
Beautiful.
think it really captured the spirit of the book quite well.
Mhm.
But it's so inspirational, right? Because I'm a genre writer, and here's Mary Shelley, kind of inventing the genre, which was kind of then taken over by men. But she invented this, and it's incredibly complex story and incredibly cinematic, right? In a time before cinema even existed. So that has been a very impactful book. Um, I also like to say that my origin story is Little House on the Prairie.
Mhm.
And so I am making an adaptation of that now, and as a series, not a film. So I've been really lucky to actually do that, to take one of my favorite book series, and adapt it.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Can you kind of just go a little deeper? What are the feelings, behind that, especially with that being something that's so personal to you and being able to, turn that into a series now?
I can't talk too much about it, but I would say,
Right.
like, when you're able to do something that means a lot to you and kind of adapt it for an audience, you kind of have to be in the mind. This is how any adaptation works, I think, for me, because I love books and I read a lot. I read a lot. It was my first form of entertainment. Before I ever saw films, really, I read books, and they really come alive in my mind. I'm lucky to have that sort of, not everyone has that sort of connection to written material, but I do. They come very alive for me. But when I'm talking about adapting anything, first I think, what's the feeling that I had when I read this? And what feeling do I want the audience to have? I want them to have that feeling. And so when you go to adapt something, it's all about finding moments that can evoke that emotion. Sometimes it means like changing things slightly, but you're definitely capturing the essence of what that was in the adaptation, you know? So even in something like The Housemaid, you have this, when you're reading it, you have these feelings of your feelings actually are shifting a lot while you're reading that book. And so you want that to really come through for the audience. You don't want them to get ahead of it. So you really try and find ways of like taking those feelings and making little essential moments for the characters in pieces of dialogue or props that they use, or I'll even write like set decoration stuff into the script, because those are little clues that give you a feeling like you're the character and it's happening to you. So that's kind of how I approach all adaptations, is like, what is the emotional truth of this? What is the cinematic excitement of it? And how do you put all those on a page so that the product will like really seep into an audience's mind and give them the same feeling that you had reading the book?
Amazing. And I have to ask as well, because as we know, there are two sequels for the Housemaid book. So I would love to know, is that something that has been a conversation for the possibility of more film adaptations? Is that something that you all would be interested in?
I think that that's all up to the audience, right? And the books are really good. That's all I'll say. So if the audience really responds to this and they love what they see, then I think there's always the possibility that it can continue as a series because Frida has written more amazing books that feature Millie as a character, you know? So I guess we'll see.
And I know Frida as well has stated on multiple occasions how she's very happy with how the film came out as well. How does that feel to know that the author for this is happy with the work that you guys have done on it?
I
Feel good
mean, it
about
means everything.
that?
I'm always worried about how someone will feel when there's somebody who's a living author and you're adapting their work and you're sort of, you know, you're condensing, you're changing their material to fit a different medium. I always hope that they'll be excited about it or happy with it. And so it means the world to me that she's a fan of the movie and of the adaptation.
Amazing. Well, I'll just do one last question to leave us off. So, just as an overall kind of wrap up, what do you hope that people can take away from watching this film?
Oh my gosh, I hope they can take away that everyone is not exactly as they seem. So stay frosty.
I
And
love
I'll also say the other takeaway, the other action items is like, read more of Frida's books because she's got lots of them and they're all a really great roller coaster ride.
Yeah, it's so cool to see her have this spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm hoping people love it because I
Yes.
loved it. It was great. So,
Okay, good. Thank you.
yes, amazing. Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
Yeah, thank you. It was
All
really nice
right.
to meet you.